Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ MV, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are the Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building.
Yes, indeed.
Ed Gordon, welcome.
What's happening, man?
How's everything with you, bro?
I'm good, man.
He's got a new book out right now called Conversations in Black. I read it this weekend. Great book. And the reason it's a great book is because it's dealing with a lot of black issues, but it's not from just one person's perspective. That's what I really appreciate about it.
Well, listen, I just want to thank you, bro. You've always been there when I give you a call, but being a part of this, I wanted your voice in it.
Mm-hmm.
And what I appreciate about everybody in the book, we were all very candid about what we talked about. Yeah.
And it was interesting because like a lot of these people in this book are my friends.
Yeah.
So these are the conversations we actually have. So it sounded like that.
Well, let's talk about the book a little bit. So what do we break down in the book for somebody who hasn't read the book yet?
Talk to him, man. What's going on in Black America? Obama, Trump, is a little bit of everything.
Yeah, what I tried to do, man, is just what Charlamagne said. I wanted this to sound like a conversation you have in your backyard, in the beauty shop, at the kitchen table. And I thought, man, wouldn't it be great if I could get all the people that I normally talk to in one room? I knew that was going to be impossible. So I was a conduit. I talked to everybody, and the book is written as if we're in the same room. It's written as a conversation. Each chapter is a different topic. So we talk Trump, we talk a reflection on Obama, Black Girl Magic, where brothers are today. We ask about the state of Black America, you know, and again, we're candid. We look at images in the media and even talk about things like Tyler Perry, right? People are proud and love what he's done as a mogul, but there are some people who still have issue with his art. And so we're very candid about where we sit today.
Oh, it was I think it was the brother Todd Boyd. I forgot.
Yeah.
Somebody in the book said something so dope about Tyler. It was like, if what he's doing is able to give so many black people jobs and so many black people opportunities, it's okay to cringe every now and then at some of
Jeff
his
Friday.
Jeff
Friday talked about that, and then I echoed that. You know, I mean, at some point, is Medea worth what he's able to do when destruction comes to a Caribbean island?
Word.
Or people get caught overseas and they need a plane and he can send a plane down. Well, I'll take a Medea movie for that.
Absolutely.
You know,
my other favorite chapter is Stand Up Black Men. Stand Up. And the Black Girl Magic chapter. And then they had me thinking, like, what is the best way for black men and women to empower themselves?
Yeah, and you and I have privately talked about the state of where brothers find themselves. And look, you know, we have to know that there are a lot of positive brothers out there doing the right thing. And we just don't get to play. You know, Black Girl Magic, that they've been able to market that. And you would think that there are no sisters with issues, and unfortunately there are, and they sometimes fall by the wayside. We as brothers don't like to admit, and you really have put it on Front Street, our frailties.
Yeah.
But we've got to start to be there for one another, because I remember D.L. Hughley had a joke years ago about, you know, going to a museum and seeing a black man stuffed next to a dinosaur because we would have become extinct. So this book, I hope, will be a motivation to get everybody first talking and then actionable items, because the conversation is not enough.
Yeah, black men just have to find ways to heal. Because if we're the foundation of our families, the way they say we're supposed to be, if we got a damaged foundation, how strong is that foundation?
Right,
yeah.
Right. And I think, man, you can be who you want to be and still be true to yourself, right? So the image I have in public is one thing. The person I am in my reality is another, right? So I have friends who will not watch me on TV. You know, they're like, I don't know who that N-word is, right? That's not the cat I hang out with. But the presentation I have, if I go to the White House or if I need to be taken seriously in the job I do, is one thing. The cat I am when I go home is a completely different one. And I can find a way to meld them, you know, and live within myself. A lot of cats can't do that. They feel like I got to be this way, right? And it's that old stereotype of what we need to be hard. We can't cry. We got to do this. We got to, well, you know, all right, whatever, man.
Well, we got to be willing to let go of who we want people to think we are.
That's right.
I heard a woman named Rita Walker say that. She's got this book coming out called The Unapologetic Guide to Black Mental Health. And I truly feel that way. Also, the person I am in my 20s, hopefully I'm not going to be in my 30s.
You should not be.
I'm not going to be in my 40s.
Right.
So things going to always constantly change.
Right.
Now, what do black men have to do to get the power and to make sure we can lead better?
Well, I think the first thing we got to do is be real, right? You got to be honest about who you want to be. You know, too many dudes front for other dudes, right? I'll give you an example. I've been light my entire life. I've had green eyes my entire life, curly hair my entire life, right? I have to walk in a room of brothers often and just prove that I'm not that soft nigga you think I am.
That you don't know how to
Forgive
sing and
the
dance.
N-word.
Yeah,
right?
you're not Christopher Williams.
Right.
I'll be sure.
You know, I shouldn't have to do that though, right? I shouldn't have to prove that to you. And so the first thing we have to do is being accepting that we come in all ways, all shapes, all forms, and that every one of those forms is a black man, right? The second thing we got to do is, listen, I was at the barbershop, man, and it was some young brothers in there, and they were talking about, you know, what they do. And their whole existence was running game and how many women they could live with, right, and never pay a bill. And look, when you're young, you're trying to run your game, right? But there was no sense of future, right? That was what they were looking to. And it was just on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. And so I said, dude, what you want to do when you get older, though? What you want to do? No aspirations, bro. It was just on to the next chick, you know? And the funny thing for them was I'm not paying any bills. What do you do? I'm sitting on the couch chilling, doing what I want to do. Now, I'm not saying that portrays every brother, the majority of brothers,
Right.
but too many brothers are looking that way. So we talk about Nipsey Hussle in the book. I hope that a year from now, the way Nipsey's life resonated with young brothers is still the same. I hope it doesn't fade. I hope that sense of I can do this too stays with them. And the only way that's going to be is that we keep it in the fore.
Absolutely.
Because like anything else, you know, the further you get away from it, it doesn't have the same impact.
I mean, yeah, that's why, you know, even in the book, when you talk about Nipsey Hussle and everything that he stood for, it is the same things that brothers like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad stood for and Malcolm X stood for, the whole do for self motto. He's just the latest example of that.
And it really is finding a way to understand the dynamic of, you know, how we define black too. There's a chapter in the book called Am I Black Enough for You? And I talk about, you know, again, if light is the delineation, and if you're lighter, you know, black of the berry, sweet of the bush, then what you're telling me is that Clarence Thomas is blacker than Louis Farrakhan. You gonna live with that one?
Yeah, nobody's
gonna take that bet,
ever
right?
say that. Yeah,
Nobody gonna take that bet.
Yeah.
So that ain't it.
Yeah.
You know, we had Dr. Claude Anderson up here, and he was talking about how he felt segregation hurt the black community. What are your thoughts?
I think to a degree. It certainly, and we've talked about Reconstruction over the years and how it took away businesses and all of that. But I think at some level, right? I'm 59 years old, man. I've been hearing that for as long as I can remember. All right, how many decades we gonna live with that? Right? And I do think what Tyler Perry has done, what you're doing, what others are doing in terms of trying to empower yourself, where if somebody walks away, and that doesn't mean that we don't team with an established company, with whites, with others. But if they decide to walk away, if they dog you, that your existence continues because you can walk away and say, all right, cool, I'm out. And you still have power. And that's, I think, where we failed prior, right? That undergirding was so dependent on somebody else that if they decided to walk, you were in trouble. And so I think what we're trying to say in this book is African Americans have far more power than they believe they have, right? We talk about it, but the actionable items of creating power, building power, coalescing, right? It's a lot of cats that say, call me, bro. Let's do this. You call them, nothing, right? Or they say all the time, oh, man, I got this plan. But the plan is a thought. I was with Bob Johnson, former owner of BET, one day. We were getting on the elevator. His brother chased it down, grabbed the elevator, man, doors, hopped in. He said, Bob Johnson, man, I got this great plan, man. I got this great idea to make you a lot of money. Now, by then, Bob's a billionaire, but bro said, I got it, man. I got it. So Bob said, all right, man, elevator pitch. Let's go. What is it? Oh, man, see, I got this plan, man. I got this plan to make you that was his plan.
The plan was I
got a plan. Could not articulate it, right?
Yeah.
So I caught up with the brother. I asked Bob, give me 2 minutes. I caught up with the brother and I said, dude, that was your shot.
And you blew it.
And you blew it. right? And I tell people, you never know when your shot is coming, and you never know if that's your only shot. So we got to be ready, right? We got to be ready. And it doesn't always have to be serious, man. Sometimes you look around and, we're so distraught about the position. A lot of us are doing well, right? But we've got to be real about where Black America stands, because the fight is real.
Mm-hmm.
Trump is real. His soldiers are real, right? And so someone said to me in an interview yesterday, well, what do we do? How do we gear up if he wins? Well, shame on us if he wins. We have enough power. We have enough of a voting bloc. We have enough of an understanding that this man should not be office to keep him out of office. There are more Democrats who are registered than Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
There's no reason we got to go through another 4 years of this fool in office.
Well, the Russians, there's no election security bill in place.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. But the reality is, even if you buy into that was the case the last election, the truth of the matter is
a lot of us stayed home.
We stayed home.
Yeah.
And even if the Russians had manipulated it, and I'm not blaming anybody, but if Detroit had come out in numbers, if Philly had come out in numbers, we don't have this fool in office.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Hillary ran a poor campaign. There are a lot of factors that came into this. But it's really more about, the power of the presidency than this fool in office. It's not, he'll be gone either in 4 or 8. But the appointments he's putting on
lifetime
affect us for generations, man. For generations. It's real.
I want to go back to the integration conversation, because in the My Dear Dilemma, we talk about how, Black people sold networks off and we sold radio stations. And in that case, that didn't help us at all.
Yeah, I liken it to when I grew up, we called them party stores in Detroit, but convenience stores, bodegas, whatever you want to call them, they were all owned by Black people in my neighborhood. And then by the time I hit my late teens, they were all sold. And in Detroit, Middle Easterners owned them. And so at some level, it's going to be up to us to decide whether we're going to start to shape and take control. We talk about the Medea dilemma, and that is the control of image. And look, we're not always going to agree on what our image should be, right? But the reality is, I'd rather us make those decisions than somebody else make those decisions.
But as a lot of people in this book said, and as this book reflects, Black people are not monolithic.
We are not monolithic.
Yeah.
Yet.
Yeah.
There is, what I say, a cultural thought.
Yeah.
If you're
you talked
a Trump
about that with the pumpkin pie, sweet potato pie thing. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. If you are a Black person and you like sweet potato pie, you down.
Yeah.
If you like pumpkin pie, they look at you like you're crazy. Right? So there's some reality to that too.
Mm-hmm.
There's some reality to that too.
How long did it take you to get this book together with all those different people? And
man.
And who was the hardest to get?
Wow. So it really actually took me about 8 months in total, and that's getting everybody together to writing it. So I've been just very blessed in my career to have relationships and to have people to come through. The hardest to get, man, everybody said yes immediately. Mm-hmm. It was just getting on people's calendars. We didn't chase too many people. Mm-hmm. Mr. Belafonte took a minute. But look, we give him reverence, and such is the case.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Maxine Waters took a minute, but she was dealing with some. But everybody immediately said, when I reached out to him, immediately, yeah, I'll do that. And I don't take that for granted. I don't take for granted how Black America has looked at me in terms of my position. Mm-hmm. Afforded too much reverence, I think, for who I am. Like I said, I will see cats cutting up. And then I'll come in the room and everybody sits straight up and, hey, Mr. Gordon, hey, Mr. Not that dude, man. Mm-hmm. But that's the image, So I think the image has allowed me to get the people that I got on this, And T.I., Killer Mike, they're very real in this. Your girl Angela Rye is with us, Jamel Hill. Mm-hmm. And as I said, man, everybody, Iyanla Vanzant was, I even doubled up and said, you sure you want to say that? She talked about the many issues that African-American males have, and she blamed Black women for it.
I read that. I don't know how. I think she said something to the effect of
she talked about
they tolerated it,
that the queens are the ones that raise the children, and that particularly because disproportionately black women are the ones who are raising black boys. She said, and she breaks it down. I don't want to misspeak, but she lets people know that black women have a role in that. So don't y'all, until you read the book, try to jump on Iyanla. But it's interesting.
Yeah, I don't remember what the exact quote was. I just know that I in my mind, I pushed back on it a little bit simply because you got to take into consideration what that woman may be going through, because trauma gets passed on regardless of what gender.
And she understood that, and she talks about that. But that was the point of this book, right? To get all of these conversations going, because what we're asking people to do is, get 3 or 4 people, buy the book, read it together, and then once you read the chapter, have your own conversation, right? And then figure out what you want to do. So if it's some single mothers and Iyanla sparks that, look at it, talk about it, and then can you collectively do something to help yourselves? I think
people are scared to talk because, you talk about cancel culture sometimes.
Yes.
So much. You say something that somebody doesn't like. And even if you don't have, the knowledge or the information on it, if you're speaking wrong, as a community, we should be like, hey, bro, I think you said this wrong. Let me explain it to you. The first thing we do is cancel. It's over.
Yeah. We try to hit everything, not everything, but a lot of things in this book. And we talk about cancer culture in that. And Michael Eric Dyson speaks to it specifically. And, one of the things that we got to get to, so think about what Lonnie Love said, the other week about, black men. And all of this are thoughts that a lot of people hold and have, whether we like to say them or not. And the only way we're going to get past this, the only way we're going to move forward is to really have these real conversations, right? And we're too afraid to have it. The whole situation with Lizzo and black women and Wade and, I've heard cats say stuff when it's just us, right, that they would never say. But the thought is there, and it harbors a certain reaction, often subconsciously.
Right.
So until we start having these real conversations, this is where we're going to be. And again, that's what I hope this book will be. I mean, again, you've been brave enough to be very upfront with, mental health and the challenges that you've had. That took a lot for you to come out and say that, particularly in our community where that stigma was there. And look, man, the book is not too academic. If you're not a political junkie, this book is still for you. As I said, I tried to write it in a way that it's just like if you were hanging out with your cousins and having that discussion, over dinner or Friday night or whenever you have it.
It really sounds like it's a bunch of black folks talking. In my mind, I was like, man, this would be a great TV show.
Yeah.
With all the different talking heads.
Man.
Like, this would be a great doc.
Yeah.
And I love what you said, the chapter, some things make change, other things just make noise, because I feel like that's what we are a lot of times in this society. Like, we just make a lot of noise.
We like to meet. We like to have a town hall meeting. We like to rally. We like to,
like
and
a
then,
tweet.
and then it's like, well, what came of that? And we talk about, we're very candid, and you were very candid about black leadership today. I asked people to grade black leadership.
I gave it an F.
Yeah, you did. And Sharpton's in it. He talks about how he sees black leadership and where we sit. And Mark Morial from the Urban League and NAACP, Derek Johnson is in it. So, I mean, we're real. And this, Alicia Garza from Black Lives Matter, the new generation of leadership. And it was interesting because I think the older generation thinks that they have maybe a better relationship with the younger generation than vice versa. So, I mean, I keep saying it, but I appreciate the candor that came out of this book. I appreciate that.
Well, we appreciate you for joining us.
That's right. Conversations in Black. Go get it. It's out right now.
That's right.
Right?
It is out right now.
How do you feel, man? You feel good?
Well, yeah.
Why you hesitate?
I do, man. You know why? When you live with something this long and you put it out there, you're like, okay, it's done. So let me see how, people will. It's like having a new baby. Are they going to say, oh, that's a cute baby? Or, oh, that's a cute baby.
No, I really enjoyed it, and I think people can learn from it just because it's so much diverse thought in it.
Yeah.
It's not one person's train of thought. Like, you might see something like the chapter about, it's the general's war, but the soldier's blood. but you got so many different perspectives, you really can't be mad at anything.
Yeah.
Because if you get mad at what Ayanla said, Angela Rye might say something you agree with. You get mad at what T.I. said, Killer Mike might say something that you agree with. So it's just very well balanced in that way.
And what I hope it does, man, is form the black agenda we've been talking about for 30 years and never had. Right? Because
Which
at the end of the day,
book seem to agree we don't have one.
And at the end of the day, it's almost like, being in a football game with no game plan. Right? You just out on the field. So I hope that's what this can start to be.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us.
That's right.
It's Ed Gordon. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.